Hello friends, today we are going to study about our chapter 8. This particular chapter is from our geography part. The name of the chapter is Natural Resources. Now, what is resources? The resources is basically a place from where we are going to get our supply. And natural means from the nature. So all the things, all the supply that we get from our nature is termed as natural resources. Human need can be satisfied partially or completely through resources. There are thousands of elements in the nature, but we cannot call all of them resources. See, this is a very important line. We cannot call all of them resources. Means all the things available into nature cannot be termed as resources. These elements can be called resources only when these are utilized by man through special knowledge and expertise. See, when they are utilized means used by man through special knowledge and expertise, means when we utilize, when we use those resources by our knowledge, then only we can call it resource. In other words, the things on which man depends, human needs can be fulfilled by them, and man has the physical and intellectual capacity to utilize them is called resource. Okay, so this can be a good way to understand it, that the physical and intellectual capacity, we should be able to physically utilize them, use them, and intellectually means with our knowledge we should be able to use them, then only we can call it resource. In this way, anything which is used to fulfill the human needs become a resource. So anything that helps us to do something or fulfill any of our need is termed as resource. In ancient time, man did not know about the minerals buried within the land. Say, when the man in the olden times, when we were primitive men, we did not know about the minerals that were buried inside the earth. At that time, they were not resources for us. Why they were not? Because we did not have the capacity to take them out, we did not have the intellect to use them, we did not have the physical capacity to utilize those resources, and that's why they were not used resources for us. But today these are extremely useful due to the utility and the development techniques of mining. But now we know about it, we mine them, we take it out, and that's why it is a resource for us. The natural resources should have both the virtues, means it should have both the uses of utility and capability to work. It should have a utility, it should have a use. Like, I'll give an example. Suppose when you go in on a ground, there are a lot of stones. You find a lot of stones there, but they are not resources for you. But suppose you want to construct a house, then you can collect those stones, mix it with cement, and build a wall, then it is considered a resource. So if it has a utility and capability to work, then only it will be termed as resource. The resource are made of interaction of three things, that is nature, man, and culture. These three things mix up and it makes the resource: nature, man, and culture. Let us see further. Now, uses of resources. Resources are useful to us in many ways. We learn about its role gradually every stage of the human life. We understand it. All activities from agriculture to industries ultimately depend on natural resources. This we know. We have already studied in standard 9th about the industries. There are three kinds of industry: primary, secondary, and tertiary. So all the things that we get from nature is termed as primary industries. So from agriculture to industries, all the things will be termed into natural resources. Let us know about them. Now we use resources as food. There are a lot of things that we get from nature and we use as food. Okay, let us see what are they. Various food requirements of man are compiled by various resources. Fruit grown naturally, various crops obtained through agriculture, milk and its product, and meat obtained through domestic animals, fishes, and other aquatic animals for resources reservoirs. Honey prepared from honeybees, etc., are used for foods. All the things that we get, fruits, right, various types of crops, okay, milk products, meat, fish, and honey and other forest products, that all we get from nature and we use it as our food items. Resources as source of raw material. We get raw material also from the nature. Various items are there in nature that we use as raw material. Various goods are obtained from forest, agro products, wool, hides, that is skin, and meat available from animals, mineral ore, etc. Form raw material. Raw material means that are the materials which we process, we combine with other materials and make it usable, so they are termed as raw materials. So we use as raw materials also. Resource is energy resource. Energy resource means those kind of resource, those kind of mineral, those kind of things which nature gives, and we use it to get energy out of it. We use coal, petroleum, natural gas, etc. as fuel in industry as well as domestic fuel. Okay, so coal, petroleum, natural gas, etc. are used as domestic fuels. Beside, energy can be generated through solar insolation. Solar insolation means the sunlight. Solar insolation matlab sunlight. Wind, okay, wind energy. Sea, tidal energy, sea waves, tidal energy, tides, and ebbs and waterfall, that is hydroelectric energy. So we can generate energy out of the elements of the nature, and that's why they are termed as energy resources. Resources, types of resources. Okay, resources are classified as follows: first, on the basis of the ownership; second, on the basis of reavailability; and third, on the basis of the distribution centers. Following are types of resources on the basis of ownership. Let us understand this through table. Okay, the first is individual resource. Individual resource, that is owned by an individual or a family. Land, building, etc. The house that you live belongs to you and no one can come in and start living, so that is an individual resource. A farmhouse, suppose you have a farm, you have, or any building that you have, is termed as individual resource. Second is national resource. Resources that are owned by a country or a region. Certain kind of resources are there which are owned by the country, and that's why they are termed as national resource. Example, army. Our army is a national resource. It is not a property of an individual person, but is the property of the whole country, and that's why it is termed as the national resource. The third kind is global resource. Global resource are types of resources that are common. Okay, that can include all the things that earth shared, like the natural resources such as the high oceans, the atmosphere, and outer space, and even Antarctica is the only continent which is not owned by any country, and that's why it is a common resource, or rather the global resource. So all the physical and non-physical resources which are used for human welfare are termed as global resource. Global means which is used by the whole world. Resources for common ownership of all the nations of the world. Okay, even the oceans that we travel. Okay, every country has a certain boundary, oceanic boundary, that is extended to a certain limit. After that, that is a common ocean. Any person, any country can travel into it without the permission of the other nation. So that is termed as the global resource. Resources can be classified as following on the basis of the distribution. Okay, so we can understand it on the basis of the distribution, right? First is the universal resources. Now universal resources are such kind of resources that are available into all parts of the world. Okay, the example is useful gases in the atmosphere, and the example are oxygen, nitrogen, and other gases that are available into all parts of the earth. Second is generally available resources, such kind of resources which are normally available to all the places, but it is not compulsory that it may be available at all the places. That is generally means easily available. Example, land, soil, water. Pasture lands means places for grazing for the animals. Third are rare resources, those available at limited places. Say limited places means not available at all the places, but they are only available at a limited place. What are the examples? Minerals like coal, petroleum, copper, gold, uranium, etc. And all many of the minerals are only available at certain places. Third is solitary resource. Solitary resource means such kind of resources which are only available at one or two places on the world. Okay. This particular mineral, okay, charolite, which is available only in Greenland. See, it is only available in Greenland. The commercial deposits are only available in Greenland, and this particular mineral is used extensively into aluminium industry. Now, solitary, what does this particular word mean? Solitary means alone or single. So this is the mineral charolite, and it is being mined into Greenland. You can see those persons mining it, right? You can understand details of the two types. We already understood about it. Resources can be classified by the other methods also, wherein this can be classified into two types as renewable resource and non-renewable resources. Some resources produce themselves, we know about it, right? Renewable, now this is made up of two words. Renew, wherever re is there, it means again. Re means again. So those resources which can reproduce themselves as per daily usage during a specific time, in other words, this are inexhaustible, means which cannot be exhausted. Okay, examples of them are solar insolation, means sunlight, wind, birds, animals, bioresources, etc. are termed as renewable resource, while non-renewable resource means which cannot renew themselves, which are exhaustible. Resources are those which cannot be reused once they are used, or they cannot be reproduced or cannot be reformed in near future. This is a very important term. Into near future, into near future means they can be reproduced, but it will take a longer time. It will take a longer time, that is more than the human life cycle. That's why they are termed as non-renewable resources. Minerals, examples are minerals, coal, natural gas, petroleum, etc. Now this particular chart will help us to understand it in better way. Resources, so they are termed into two ways. They are categorized into mainly two ways: renewable and non-renewable. Renewable, then solar energy, air and wind, water, tides flowing, soil, plant, this all will renew themselves, and that's why they are termed as renewable resource. While non-renewable resource, in that fossil fuels means oil, coal, natural gas, this all are fossil fuels that we use. Okay, like suppose you fill petrol into your bike, okay, you will roam about for say 50 kilometers, but that petrol cannot be regenerated, and that's why it is considered as non-renewable resource. Next are metallic minerals. Okay, the metallic minerals: iron, copper, aluminium. Now what is metallic and what is non-metallic? Here there is non-metallic minerals. Then metallic minerals are such kind of minerals that contain one or more metals into it. They are usually good conductors of electricity. Okay, they can conduct electricity in a better way. The examples of them are iron, copper, aluminium, gold, bauxite, manganese, etc. And mostly, this is a very important point, mostly they are found in igneous and metamorphic rock. We have already studied in the previous standards that there are three kinds of rocks: igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary rocks. So these are usually found into igneous and metamorphic. Okay. Planning and conservation of resources. Now this needs to be a very important point. Planning and conservation, we need to plan the usage and the conservation of resources. Human needs are unlimited while the resources are limited. See, human needs are unlimited. Okay, the needs of human being are very, you can say, increasing, and that's why the resources which are very limited needs to be used in a very systematic way. During last 100 years, usage of resources have increased very much due to extraordinary development in science and technology and due to population explosion. See, due to two things the usage have increased. First is science and technology, due to new inventions, new re research and all other things. And second is due to population explosion. Population on the earth have increased to a great extent, and that's why the usage, the human needs, okay, the human needs are also increasing. Several implications will have to be experienced in future. See, if we don't use it in a better way, in a systematic way, then there will be problems. There will be severe implications. There will be a lot of problems. There will be a lot of problems that we have to face for the future generation. Resources should be conserved and should be used rationally. So it is our duty to use the conserve and resource for future generation, and should be conserved and used rationally. The word conservation is directly related to scarcity. See, what things we conserve, okay, then we conserve those things which are in scarcity, which are lesser in number, that we conserve. If the resources are exploited at the current rate, where they are exploited haphazardly and irrationally, then it will be a dream to maintain the development and current lifestyle. See, we are using the resources right now in a very haphazard way, in a very, you can say, very bad manner, or not in a good or a systematic manner, and without thinking. And that's why, if we continue to do it, then we are going to face a severe shortage of those resources into the near future. It includes things like the rational usage, its conservation and reusage. See, there are three things that can be done: rational usage, conservation and reusage. And that's why the theory of 3R is very important. 3R is reuse, reduce and recycle. Okay, the theory of 3R. First is reuse, second is reduce, and third is recycle. Theory of 3R. When there is a danger of extinction on the life of a tree or a human life, the arrangement made for it is called conservation. Okay, so that is known as conservation, right? Let us understand about the planning and conservation of the resources in detail. Okay, let us see about that into detail. First, how can we conserve resources? Then first of all, we need to gather information about the availability of resources. We need to find out what resources are available, okay, and the probable resource of any region and country. Any region, we need to find, mapping should be done, surveying should be done. We need to find out the resources, availability of resources in that particular area or that particular country. The resources which are limited and or non-renewable should be exploited scientifically. So such kind of resources which are non-renewable should be used or taken out scientifically. We should not take it out without scientific research, then it is wastage of it. Should be used only when it is necessary, use them. Next, attempt should be made to develop those resources, the quantity of which can be increased. Such kind of resources should be used more, which can use the quantity of which is more, or which can be increased. The resources which are cheaper and are easily available should not be wasted. See, none of the resources should be wasted, even if they are cheaper, expensive, anything, but they should not be wasted, but instead they should be used sparingly. Okay, means used thinkingly for the future use. Those resources which are in limited quantity should be conserved. See, those which are into limited quantity should be conserved. Finding its alternative, this is a very important point. We should find a alternative of it. Like for petrol, we have found out petrol and diesel, we have found out CNG, right? So CNG is an alternative of petrol and diesel through technical development in favor of long term. Necessary laws should be formed for the conservation of resources and should be enforced. Laws should be made and they should be enforced strictly. Any person who is damaging or using resources in a bad way should be punished. Citizens should be well acquainted with all the facts associated with the rational usage of resources, and a public awareness should be cultivated. Say, public awareness is very important. Okay, until and unless the public is aware, there will be always the wastage of resources into the all time. Next comes soil formation. Okay, Generally, the part of the surface of the earth wherein the vegetation grows is known as soil. Okay, the earth part of the earth where the vegetation grows is known as soil. The soil is a thin layer composed of various elements on the surface of the earth. So this can be a definition. The soil is a thin layer composed of various elements on the surface of the earth. Minerals, humidity, humus, and air are mixed up with it. So biotic and abiotic elements are mixed up with it. The parent rock lies below the soil. Soil is formed due to the material available through denudation. Okay, denudation is breaking down of the parent material. Biotic remnants, humidity and air mix up with it. Okay, so how does the soil is formed? When the parent material is broken through denudation, and biotic material or biotic elements are mixed up with it. Humidity and air gets mixed up with it. In other words, the soil is a natural mixture of minerals and biotic elements which have the capacity to grow. Okay, this particular chart helps us to understand about it. Okay, so what is soil? That is basically mixture of organisms, topography, climate, parent material, and time. All this thing makes up soil. All this thing makes up soil. Next, soil. Let us see how soil is done. The uppermost layer of the crust of the earth is called soil, which contains mineral and abiotic elements necessary for the growth and development of the vegetation. Although their proportion is not the same everywhere, so this is very important. The proportion of biotic, abiotic, and minerals is not the same. Thus, soil is the layer or the surface of the matter formed due to the mixture of scattered material of the parental rock and vegetation. Scattered material of parent rock and vegetation. Okay. Factors of denudation prepare very thin layer through denudation. Rock denudation is broken down. Thus, humus formed due to the disintegration or decaying of the vegetation and insect is added to it. This biotic element plays an important role in the development of the vegetation. Okay, so how does it is formed? So first of all, when the rock is broken down, okay, when it is denuded or the denudation happens to it due to climate, it can break through wind, it can break through wind or water, or even through water, or even through organic material. Anything it can break. When it breaks and it mixes with the other materials like leaf, insect, and other decaying things into it, then that is the biotic elements into it, and other minerals mix it up. So this all mix it up with the passage of the time, with the passage of the time, and it is formed into land. It is called land. Now let us see how the soil is formed. So the upper layer of the crust of the earth is called soil. Okay, so this can be a definition. The upper layer of the earth is called soil, which contains minerals and abiotic elements. Which contains minerals and biotic. Biotic means living. Is living elements into it, necessary for the growth and development of the vegetation. Although their proportion is not same everywhere. See, the proportion of the biotic elements with the minerals is not same everywhere. Okay, thus layer soil is the layer or the surface of the matter formed due to the mixture of the scattered material of the parent rock and vegetation. Okay, soil is mixture of all the things. See, it is a mixture of all the things, and it is a mixture of all the things, that is a scattered material and the parent rock and vegetation. Factors of denudation prepare very thin layer through the denudation of the rock. Denudation is breaking down. Denudation is breaking of rocks. Okay. Now what happens? I'll make you understand. Suppose this is a rock. Okay, it is termed as parent material. This is a parent material. Okay. Now, due to wind, water, and other climatic effect. Okay, what will happen? This will break off. This will break off into small pieces. When this will break off into small pieces, again this will break into very small granules. It will be formed into granules. Now this granules will mix up with biotic elements like insects, okay, leaves, etc., and they will decompose into it. Okay, they will decompose into it, so that will add life to this particular non-living granule. And when this non-living granule will be added with life, and when time will pass, as time pass, it will provide maturity to it. It will provide maturity to it, and that will be termed as land. That will be termed as land. So land is formed in this particular manner, right? Let us see further. Now the types of soil into India. What kind of soil are available into India? As per ICAR, that is Indian Council of Agriculture Research, there are 8 kind of types of soil available into India: alluvial soil, red soil, black soil, laterite soil, desert soil, mountainous soil, forest soil, marshy and peaty soil. So these are 8 kind of soil available into India as per ICAR, right? Of this, the mountainous soil and the forest soil are found at different altitude in mountainous regions. So you can say they are one and the same, but for the easy understanding, they are divided into various divisions. They have classified it into various divisions, right? Let us see further. Alluvial soil. Alluvial soil, this type of soil is spread over 43 percentage. It is spread over 43 percentage of the total area. So it is available in 43% of total area in India. This soil is found in the north of Brahmaputra valley. See, it is found in the north of Brahmaputra. Now Brahmaputra flows from here. It enters here and it goes somewhere here. So you can see here the alluvial soil is mostly found in this particular part of India, right? Also, it is also found into this part of India, right? Let's read further. In the northern plains of Brahmaputra valley, in the east of up to Satluj in the west, and in the delta region. Delta is the triangular form which is at the mouth of the river Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna and Kaveri. The formation of alluvial soil is due to the alluvial deposits by the river. Okay, due to the alluvial deposits by the river. Now alluvial soil is basically divided into two parts. Alluvial soil is divided into two parts. It's Khadar and second is Bangar. Now what is Khadar? Khadar is new alluvial and Bangar is old alluvial. Khadar is new while Bangar is the old alluvial. There is more proportion of potash, phosphoric acid and limestone in this soil, and there is less proportion of nitrogen and humus into it. If pulses are grown in this soil, the nitrogen content can be stabilized. Crops like wheat, paddy, sugarcane, jute, maize, oilseed, etc. can be grown into this particular soil. Okay, so maize, wheat, cotton, sugarcane, right, oil seeds are grown into this red soil. It occurs about 19%, so it is available in 19 of the total land of India. It spread from Tamil Nadu to the peninsula India up to the Budelkhand in the north, and from Rajmahal hills in the east up to Karachi in the west. See, such kind of is mainly found the red soil. Okay, the red soil is mainly found, you can see here from this, it is mainly found into this part of India. Okay, and also in this part is part of it. Such soil is found in some parts of Rajasthan also. The soil is red in color due to the presence of ferric oxide. So ferrous oxide, due to ferrous oxide, it looks red, and it becomes yellowish as we go down. As we dig up, it becomes yellowish. Lime, gravel, and carbonate are not found in this soil. There is a deficiency of lime, manganese, phosphate, nitrogen, and potash in this soil. So minerals availability is very less into this particular kind of soil. But what does it grow? Then crops like millet, cotton, wheat, jowar, linseed, groundnut, potato, etc. are grown into this particular soil. So this kind of crops are also grown into the soil. Next is black soil. Black or rigorous soil covers up to 15% of the total area of India. This soil was formed due to the spreading of Deccan lava. Okay, so this is formed due to the lava soil. Such soil is found in the entire Maharashtra, western Madhya Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, and certain part of Karnataka. In Gujarat, Surat, Bharuch, Narmada, Vadodara, Tapi, and Dang district have this type of soil. Okay, let us see what kind of soil is available. So the black soil, here you can see the black soil. It is found mostly in the Deccan area, the central area of India. Lava rocks and climate play an important role in the formation of such soil. So lava rocks, the igneous rocks, and climate play a very important role for this kind of soil. There is more proportion of iron. See, iron availability is more into this lime. Okay, calcium, it is considered to be quite fertile. This type of soil is considered very fertile. Okay, this soil also has the capacity of retaining moisture, so it can retain moisture for a very long time. Okay, whenever the moisture dries up, they create fissures, you can see. Okay, they create fissures. Fissure means cracks into it. Crops like cotton, linseed, mustard, groundnut, tobacco, and urad are grown in soil. As it is more suitable for cotton, it is also known as black cotton soil. So it is known as black cotton soil. Okay, cotton, then mustard, okay, linseed, then groundnut, tobacco is also grown. Okay, it is known as, there are three names for it: rigor, then cotton soil, and self-ploughing soil.